The Champions League is back. Tuesday preview action with Jimmy, Conrad, and Jonathan Johnson as PSG visit Barcelona and RB Leipzig host Liverpool. Two cracking games, and we got all the preview info just for you, especially Jimmy's betting tips. Qué Golazo Tuesday Champions League action preview begins right now. Hey everybody, welcome to Qué Golazo, and the Champions League is back, baby. Jimmy, Conrad, what's up?
Well, I'm excited. This is a competition that's one of my favorite in the world, and I feel like we've been chomping at the bit to actually get it going after the draw back in mid-December. So very excited to be here with you guys to break all these big matches down.
Absolutely. Jonathan Johnson, how are you, my friend?
Very good. And yourself? Great to be back on with both of you. As Jimmy said, nothing better than a bit of Champions League action. So I think we're all grateful for it returning.
I am so happy. The champions. There you go. That's all you're going to get from the theme song for today. Listen, everybody, welcome to Qué Golazo. This is Tuesday Champions League preview. And straight away, we're not going to just, dilly-dally here. Jimmy Conrad, just give me your best bets for Tuesday.
All right. I always have to give you a little context, and I'm going to go in escalation, let's say. So I really like the PSG, Kylian Mbappe, score anytime. Now, we know that Neymar's not playing in leg one. We know that Angel Di Maria is not playing in leg one, and I know we're going to break that down quite extensively here with JJ. But Kylian Mbappe's got some crazy stat that I really like, and it's in 42 matches without Neymar in the team since 2018, 2019. He scored 36 times. 30 of those were in the run of play. It wasn't like they were just penalties or whatever it is. He's got 9 assists as well. Those are crazy numbers without Neymar in the team. And I like Kylian Mbappe to score anytime, especially against the Barcelona defense. That's not very good at getting clean sheets. And if you got to throw Frankie de Jong, of all people, it's into center back, which might happen in leg one, I can see Kylian Mbappe running past him quite a few times, and I think he's going to get some opportunities whether he buries them or not. I know he had that dry run where he didn't score for 9 consecutive Champions League games before he broke his duck against Istanbul Başakşehir. I don't care. I don't care. He's Kylian Mbappe, and I think he's going to get some opportunities. So plus 140 for that. I like RB Leipzig to win straight up at plus 195. I think that's tremendous value against Liverpool right now, especially this version of Liverpool. And I don't get into the exotics there. I like that one straight up. If you guys want to throw it into a parlay, maybe consider that. Barcelona and PSG to draw. I really feel like these two teams, Barcelona needs to win this, I think, to really put any pressure on leg two on PSG for this. They got to take advantage of it. They're in good form, but I quietly like this PSG team a lot. I think they're better balanced without Neymar in it. I'll get into that in a little bit, but both teams to score and a draw plus 310. I like that. As you can see, the escalation's happening. And then I like RB Leipzig to score first, and the first goal happening after 31 minutes plus 400. I like that because I think it's going to be a little bit tight to start. I think both teams are going to be feeling each other out. I don't think there's going to be any early action there. And then once it starts to open up, I think that the quality of RB Leipzig, especially if Jordan Henderson is playing center back again, one of their new center backs is playing next to him, there's going to be some stuff that opens up. But I think because of the mistakes that Liverpool are making, they're going to be maybe a little bit more conservative defensively. Maybe I'm wrong there, but I feel that. And then RB Leipzig will be the same and are going to try to adjust. I mean, Julian Nagelsmann, the manager of RB Leipzig, very good at adjusting his team and formations in the middle of a game and his players understanding how to do that. I think they're going to wait and see how this plays out. And then when things open up, Christopher Nkunku in particular, I've got my eyes on him. But that's plus 400 for that to happen. And those are my bets. You're welcome. And if you get rich, just send me a thank you note.
I love it. Not just a thank you note. Let's get that Venmo in there and thank financially.
I get 10% of anything you guys make.
I love it. Jimmy Conrad, thank you so much. It's been so long since we had those Champions League bets. So make sure, guys, that you pay attention. All right, let's begin with Barcelona against PSG. Jonathan Johnson reporting from Paris. If you go to cbssports.com, you can also read this primer of this game. JJ, the mic goes to you. Talk to me about the latest, specifically from PSG squad, and I guess what Pochettino and his strategy is going to be as he debuts himself as a PSG manager in the Champions League, and they face Barcelona. Talk to me, JJ. Talk to me about this game.
You know what? Barcelona PSG brings up a lot of bad memories for me. Bad memories of Camp Nou, massive humiliation for PSG. Barcelona's all-time greatest comeback, as their social media was telling us last week. So, we all know what value this game has for PSG, emotionally. mentally, all of that. I think that they've exercised their ghosts from that for the most part, especially last season going all the way to the final. But we also know that some of the other storylines coming into this one, no Neymar, no Angel Di Maria. I'm looking forward to hearing what Jimmy has to say about missing Neymar, particularly this season, given that he's been so key in PSG's recovery in the group stage, in those games against Leipzig at home, Manchester United away, Istanbul at home. So it's going to be obviously a lot of onus on Kylian Mbappe to be the guy who steps up for PSG and leads them in this first leg as they try to put themselves in a stronger position as possible going into the second leg. We know that Neymar and Angel Di Maria might be back. It's not certain. It's far from certain for Neymar, but Di Maria, has a very good shot at being back for that second game. So here, I think that the big questions for PSG surround the likes of Marco Verratti. We know that he hasn't been fit enough to play the last couple of games, but he's been absolutely key to Pochettino since his arrival, in the fact that Pochettino has started trying to play PSG in a 4-2-3-1 formation that has Verratti pushed further forward. And he does have greater creativity in that role, but how fit is he? How ready is he for this match? Because you have to imagine that because he was playing up until 2 games ago, Pochettino is probably going to feel that he's ready to start the match and play the majority of the game, at least an hour. So, that's obviously a big boost for PSG because their midfield looks very workmanlike whenever Verratti is absent. So for me, that's that's going to be quite key where Pochettino places him on the pitch. Also, the defensive lineup. We've seen PSG put in some good performances this season in the Champions League, notably away against Manchester United at Old Trafford. Tuchel sprung the surprise of putting Abdou Diallo at left back, who's normally a centre back. It looks more likely that he's going to go with Layvin Kurzawa. You'd assume it's going to be Marquinhos and Presnel Kimpembe in the middle. So that means who plays at right back? We didn't see Alessandro Florenzi over the weekend. We should see him lining up here. And I think overall, Pochettino still has quite a balanced squad available to him, and one that he's going to be able to construct a starting 11 that's capable of at least drawing at Camp Nou, if not winning. To be perfectly honest, I think that it's going to weigh so much on how PSG approach this game mentally, because there are still some guys in that squad who were part of the remontada. Verratti, Marquinhos, Kurzawa, were all on the pitch when Barcelona came back and knocked them out a couple of years ago in those traumatic circumstances. So assuming that they, can keep that far out of their mind, I think we're going to see a motivated PSG wanting to impress in Pochettino's first game in the Champions League in charge. I'm expecting them to go out there with a point to prove. And I think up against this vulnerable Barcelona side, where there's expected to be some very strange tactical innovations. Jimmy was alluding to the possibility of De Jong playing in central defense. There's also the possibility of Umtiti coming in, Gerard Piqué, who's not played in quite a while, possibly playing some part. Busquets, along with Umtiti, looks pretty immobile these days. So, I think it's really important that PSG don't get overawed by the mental aspect of this and look at Barcelona for what they're going to be on the pitch. And to me, that's a team that, doesn't really have much of a clue about what they're doing at this moment in time. I think that this is a game that PSG, if they really want to, can stamp their authority on.
Yeah, well, let's focus now and pivot to Barcelona, because I'm actually going to go completely against what JJ said. I actually think Barcelona is not as vulnerable as you may think. I think that there are issues, but I think this past weekend, I get it. It was just Alaves, but a 5-1 win, I think, is going to bolt up the confidence in this Barcelona squad. And I think that, yes, the issues at the back may be a problem, but the fact that there's no Neymar, the fact that there's no Angel Di Maria, which to me is more important, actually, even more than Neymar, maybe, and the availability of Marco Verratti, I don't know. I feel that Barca will be up for this. I just feel that there's something going here that may counter the narrative of what we just heard. And JJ is far smarter than me, so I'm just really going for the instinct here. What do you think of Barcelona's chances in this game?
Well, I think I could use that same argument to talk about PSG a little bit with regard to the good form that Barcelona is in. The front three in particular from Barcelona, Griezmann, Messi, and Ousmane Dembele are playing very, very well. The combination play in particular, I think between Messi and Griezmann has been finally, right? You just, as a Barcelona fan, you're like, finally Messi trusts Griezmann, and you can see it. He's looking for him, and Griezmann's making good purposeful runs because he knows that Messi will actually play it to him this season, as opposed to last season when Messi would only look for Jordi Alba or Suarez, so that has been very promising, I think, from a Barcelona perspective, and has unlocked a lot of things for that offense in particular. On PSG's side, to use that same thing, Mauro Icardi's healthy. He's scoring goals. Moise Kean has been very good for PSG as well. He's scoring goals. I actually think that Neymar not being in this game actually helps PSG, to JJ's point. He's talking about the psychological standpoint, the emotional standpoint. If Neymar was in this game, and we all can agree here, I don't think you can disagree here, he would be trying too hard to prove something to his former club. That emotion would override everything. He'd try to get the ball and run at everybody and not maybe combine in the same way because he wants to be the guy that does it. And we see it sometimes where he even tries to do that. Even last year in the Champions League, he was trying to do everything by himself. Now, obviously, the guy can, more often than not, make something happen by himself. That's what makes him one of the best players in the world. But I think with this particular opponent, his former club, and all the emotion tied into it, it might even be better in PSG's regard that he's not playing. And I actually think, to your point, that Angel Di Maria might be the bigger loss in terms of balance and how balanced they are on one side to the other. Because now you might have to put Moise Kean out wide as a winger, and that's, for me, not where he's best suited. I think he's better up top. So I don't know. I like PSG in this one. And I saw some article about them being very weak defensively, PSG that is. I was like, are you insane? They've only given up 15 goals so far in Ligue 1. It actually hasn't even been that great of a season. Keylor Navas comes back into the team. That's going to help them. Marquinhos being a center back only and not having to be a defensive midfielder is good. Verratti, I think, will play. And so I like PSG in this one. I think there's a draw because I think Messi will somehow will them to not losing this game, because I don't think they've lost to a French club at the Camp Nou in 60 million years or whatever. So there's a lot of history there. But I don't know. I just think that defense that you're saying, Luis, that you might have a little faith in, I don't have the same faith. I mean, they're potentially going to start Mingueza out wide, who's a center back. Mbappe is going to run that guy. Then you got De Jong playing center back, who, yeah, he can pass, but he can't run with anybody, and his instincts aren't playing defensively. Lenglet's okay, and then Jordi Alba doesn't like playing defense anymore. He's like Marcelo. He's like Marcos Alonso. There's plenty of left backs out there that love to attack but don't like to defend, and he's one of those now, for better or for worse. He does get forward, but I think that's something that PSG can handle. I like PSG. I think they're going to be solid, and I think they're going to get a result here.
What result is that?
I say 2-2.
2-0. Okay, good. JJ, let's go back to you. I did like that line behind Icardi this weekend with Draxler, Mbappe, and Moise Kean, right? Was it just behind Icardi? I think that's what it was. It looked pretty good. I mean, granted, it was Nice, but I think Pochettino's finding this system where it doesn't really, and this actually almost happens almost always. Southampton, he did it with Tottenham. It doesn't really matter who's in there. It's more about that pressing system, especially in the front line when you don't have the ball. You might see that with PSG. What do you think? And then ending with your final score prediction.
Well, it reminded you that Draxler existed, right? Because it's pretty much the only time that we get to see him on the pitch these days. It was interesting the way that Pochettino lined PSG up for that match, because Nice, although they're in a pretty poor position in Ligue 1, they strengthened their defense really well during the January transfer window. So you have PSG going up against William Saliba and Jean-Claire Todibo, who's on loan from Barcelona. I think Barcelona actually probably could have used him in the squad for this one. And for me, I'm like you. I agree that, like Jimmy, I agree that Ken is not best placed out wide. Mauro Icardi does have a point to prove through the middle. He's rarely been used in the Champions League after that move to PSG was made permanent. And, this is a good opportunity for him as well as Mbappe. And I think that I can just see them exploiting this Barcelona defense. And if they're finding the target better than they were against Nice, and more tuned in, which quite often is the case. We see PSG kind of a bit lazy, a bit complacent in the match, in the build up to the Champions League. Normally we saw that against Nice and they still managed to get the result. So I expect a more focused PSG attack. And for that reason, I'm going for a 2-1 PSG win at Camp Nou.
Love it. All right, we got 2-0 from Jimmy Conrad, 2-1 to PSG. I'm going with 3-1 Barcelona. So we got plenty to go around. Plenty to go around.
What are you drinking this morning? That's a
bold shout. Don't tell me it's Mate.
Mate,
I'm stronger than that.
My friend, I'm Peruvian. Mate doesn't belong with me. This is different. All right, PSG Barcelona be done. Let's move on here. We're not taking a break. We're going to keep going. RB Leipzig against Liverpool. Liverpool, who have now faced 3 straight defeats, the latest one being against Leicester City, face a very confident RB Leipzig who played last Friday. They even rested some players. This is a big deal. It's a big game, obviously, for both. Jimmy, you gave us some lines from your best tips. Let's begin with you on this game. What can we expect from this matchup as RB Leipzig face Liverpool in the first leg?
I think you're going to see in an RB Leipzig team the energy that they had against Manchester United on the last match day, where they knew they needed to win. They were at home and they went for it. They scored early, they scored often, and they put Manchester United to the sword right away. Manchester United aren't as devastating going forward as Liverpool, so they have to be a little bit cautious, which is why one of my bets was, no goals, and RB Leipzig will score the first one after the 31st minute. I think there will be some feeling each other out. This is the leg 2, or the 2-legged affair. So you don't want to necessarily throw everything out there right away. You can take your time and be patient. And I think Julian Nagelsmann encourages patience. You've seen it with his career. He could have made a bigger jump to bigger teams and decided to. This is his very thoughtful in terms of how he lays things out, both on a personal and collective basis. So I like them a lot. I like RB Leipzig to do this. I think the Upamecano being announced that he's going to go to Bayern Munich will help settle him as a player, right? His future's been resolved, and I think he'll end up playing with a little bit more peace and less uncertainty, and I think that'll be good for them. Their midfield is so strong, and this Liverpool team, yes, with their front 3 of Firmino, Mane, and Salah are so good and can score at any time. I just feel like they have, very similar to Barcelona, Liverpool, that is, a lot of defensive frailties that can be exposed, and I just feel like they're going to find it, RB Leipzig. Christopher Nkunku, usually kind of plays underneath. He's been playing a little higher and a little bit more centrally for me this season in particular, and I think he's been great. I feel like they had a really good performance, a 1-0 win against Bayer Leverkusen. They started to tighten things up on the defensive side since the group stages, where they gave up more goals than anybody else that actually advanced in the knockout rounds. So I like RB Leipzig, and just because there's just this pile-on effect with Liverpool, they can't seem to get anything to go their way. They're making mistakes. Alisson's making a lot of mistakes. I think their confidence is low. And even if they score first, I don't think that's going to trouble RB Leipzig all that much. I just feel like they've got more confidence and are just better at the moment.
JJ, to Jimmy's point, I feel like this game is all about who takes advantage of the mental aspect. And I feel like Liverpool is very vulnerable right now. And I'm really wondering who's going to start at the back, to be perfectly honest. There's no better options here. You put Henderson at the back, you lose a lot of that key part in the midfield, and that's a major problem when you face somebody like RB Leipzig. Talk to me about this game. What do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm glad that Jimmy brought up the parallels between the Barca PSG game and this one, because they're quite similar. I see Liverpool being vulnerable in a similar way to Barca. And for me, I think it's a huge risk when we're talking about Liverpool defensively, throwing in either of the new signings at this moment in time. If you use them in the league, there's you can't really throw any recriminations their way, because the damage has already been done in terms of Liverpool's title defense. I don't think anyone can dispute that City are probably now going to run away with this. I mean, Klopp was saying that just a couple of weeks ago after the loss to City, and I've seen nothing to change my mind over the weekend after that defeat against Leicester. So I think there's less at risk if you put them in the league as opposed to the Champions League, because at the moment, the Champions League is one of the only bits of silverware really left for Liverpool to win this season that they could possibly win, because we've seen teams have off seasons in the league yet still do well in Europe. And I think that's what Liverpool are going to have to concentrate on between now and the end of the season, because I think that they still do have enough quality to make a deep run in the Champions League. I'm not going to say go all the way, but honestly, with soccer the way it is right now, you never know. Once you get into those latter stages in and around the quarterfinals, anything can happen. It's completely the luck of the draw. So for me, I think that this now focuses on Klopp and how he manages this Liverpool squad with a view to both legs, because I think they're going to lose this first leg, but the crucial element for Liverpool is to get an away goal. I can see Leipzig winning this or being 2-0 up, and potentially Liverpool grabbing a very late away goal. And then for me, I think that it plays into Liverpool's hands being at home for the second leg, and everyone knows that despite the fact that there won't be any fans in Anfield, it's a stadium where there's special value attached to European nights. And I think that the Liverpool players will know that they need to step it up at home and salvage something from the tie. So for me, I'm expecting Leipzig to win this first leg and Liverpool to, potentially give it a good go in the second leg. But it depends how Klopp lines this team up, and manages his squad for this first leg, because Leipzig, they're going to be looking at their situation in the Bundesliga, particularly with regards to the Bayern result that happens later after we've taped. And I don't think they're going to be holding out that much hope of ousting them now in the title race. They'll be looking at going as far as they possibly can in the Champions League after last season's bonus of reaching the semi-final. They, like Jimmy said, there's a lot of reasons to think that they're going to be more settled now, notably Upamecano. For me, I think that this Leipzig side will win it on the night. It's just for Liverpool, it's a question of not losing by too many goals so that they still have a chance for that second leg.
So, Jimmy, let me throw that to you for a second. One of the things that JJ just talked about, which is, what the lineup will look like. What do you think, especially at the back? What's Jurgen Klopp going to do here?
That's a good question. And one thing I would add on to this is what competition do they want to continue focusing on? Because it feels like based on their depth, they can really only focus on one. If they want to finish in the top four, they got Everton on the weekend in the Merseyside derby. And I know that Everton just came off a 2-0 shocking loss to Fulham somehow, some way at Goodison Park. But that'll be at Anfield, but still no fans. It loses some of its atmosphere in that way, but still a big one for them. And if they lose that, especially with Everton trying to crawl into the top six and maybe even the top four, there's so much at stake. So these next 4 or 5 days for Liverpool are going to really determine a lot. If you put Henderson back there, it feels very De Jong-like. Obviously, he'll do the job, but it's not his best position. And I do think you lose a little bit of his bite and his transitional skills for the team overall if he's not in midfield, and you kind of limit his strengths. Fabinho, I think, will be a question mark. I think to JJ's point, this might be let's just hold on for dear life in leg 1 and then do our damage in leg 2 when they have a easier fixture schedule too, and they're playing like Sheffield United and Wolves. Not that those are easy games, but a little bit different than some of the big boys that exist in the Premier League. So I don't know. I mean, do you roll out one of your younger guys? Kabak was okay, but he obviously does it against Leicester for a portion of it. And then he had that mistake with Alisson, which I blame more on Alisson than I blame on the 20-year-old center back. He played for Schalke, right? So he's going to have some familiarity with RB Leipzig. So that could play into it. So I suspect that Kabak's going to play. And then you're going to have Jordan Henderson next to him. And I think you hold off and keep Fabinho fresh because you still have a lot of important games for the rest of the season and potentially in leg 2. What I think Liverpool should consider, though, if you guys remember, I don't know how long ago, maybe 6 weeks ago, RB Leipzig got slapped around by Borussia Dortmund 3-1. And that was a front 4 that'll look very similar, I think, that the Liverpool has. As Jadon Sancho was very good in that game. Erling Haaland had 2 goals, if you guys remember. Gio Reyna was on the other side. Marco Reus underneath had 2 assists. Very good performance from Borussia Dortmund. That's when we all thought they were going to kick on and have a great season. They've been kind of sputtering since. But that front 3 made hay against this defense for RB Leipzig. And I think Jurgen Klopp should look at that game in particular as to how you can expose this RB Leipzig team. If they can figure out a way to get, Erling Haaland's a little bit more mobile than Roberto Firmino, but if they can get those wingers involved in a meaningful way and Firmino can hold the ball and allow the team to transition, I think Liverpool has a decent chance to get opportunities. Whether they score those or not, that's kind of been the bane of their existence this season. They're not scoring the opportunities when they get them. So we'll see what version of Liverpool shows up in this one.
And a few weeks later to that Dortmund loss, they lost 3-2 to Mainz as well. So, they are vulnerable every now and again. But just how we deferred so much, I'm going to agree 100% here with JJ. I think this is 2-1 Leipzig, with Leipzig taking a 2-0 lead and Liverpool just get it, because it's very important for them to get an away goal. I think that is absolutely key. They come away with nothing, it's over in the second leg. But if they can get a goal and keep the margin very small, I think it could be something. All right. So JJ, give me your final prediction. I forgot about the score. You said 2-1 as well, or something different there?
Yeah, I'm sticking with 2-1. So 2-1 in both games, but this time the home team coming out on top.
Jimmy?
Yeah, I'll say 2-1 as well. I had my bets Leipzig to win straight up plus 195, and I actually like Leipzig to score first and after the 31st minute plus 400, and hopefully that goes down.
Isn't it great when we all agree? It's just a beautiful world. All right, well, that's it. That's our Tuesday preview. Any final thoughts as we say goodbye and you get ready for the return of the Champions League? Jonathan Johnson, final thoughts as we look ahead to Tuesday's action.
No, I mean, I think we've covered it already for the games. Just really excited to have Champions League football back, and hopefully it lives up to our expectations. You know, it's been a long winter. It feels like we're now ready for some of that Champions League gold to come back.
Absolutely. Jimmy Conrad, final thoughts as we look ahead to Tuesday.
My final thoughts are that I'm sad that these games are being kicked off at the same time. I wish they staggered them because I feel like we're going to miss out on maybe some of the subtlety and nuance that we all love about the game because we can't watch it because we're trying to watch both at the same time. That's it. I'm just a little sad.
No, it's true. It's good for the health and sanity of us because of like the length of the day that we would cover. But I agree. It's always good to have one game after the other. But anyway, the Champions League is back. 2 cracking games on Tuesday. Jonathan Johnson, thank you so much, my friend.
Thanks a lot for having me on. Always a pleasure, and look forward to joining you guys after Barca PSG.
Absolutely. Jimmy C, thank you, buddy.
Thank you, guys.
Hey, everybody. I want to thank Jimmy Conrad and Jonathan Johnson for joining me today. Don't forget to subscribe to Qué Golazo on Apple Podcasts. Please leave a rating and review. Follow us on Twitter, Qué Golazo Pod. We're on YouTube, youtube.com/Qué Golazo, Spotify, Stitcher. We have so much content as the Champions League and Europa League has returned. 2 episodes a day. And we have so many more interviews with so many interesting guests. A She Believes Cup begins later this week. We have a great interview with USWNT captain Becky Sauerbrunn, and so much more. Make sure that you're with us all for the ride. Have a great, great week.